Hey everybody, Andrew here. Sunday the 2nd of February 2014, and I've just got a quick little review for you today. This is a starter kit. It came in from EOScigarette.com in China. Now, I'm not sure how many places are selling them at the moment. I found one supplier over in the UK who's selling them online at the moment. I think it's £21.99 sterling, something like that, which I think is about 27 euro. But it's basically an Aspire starter kit, and comes in a little box like this, and then when we take that out, that's what we have inside. And there's obviously charger and stuff like that underneath it. Now you can see in this particular case a very dinky looking battery, and I think there are a number of different sort of battery colours. I think you get silver, you can get black or whatever. In this case it's multicoloured and looking rather striking. So easiest thing is to just go down close, have a look at it, show you how it works, and then I'll be back to you afterwards. Right, let's take all the bits out and go through them piece by piece. So we have our clearomizer here. We'll put that down. We have our battery, which is a 900 mAh or 900 milliamp hour battery. So you can put that down as well. Hopefully they don't all slide off. Lift this, and underneath then we've got a quick start guide, which is always great to see in starter kits. So there's our quick start guide, and it's reasonably legible as well, which kind of makes a bit of a change, because some of them are completely make no sense whatsoever. We have our USB charger, which is to charge the battery, and this can either go into a USB wall socket or into a laptop or computer or any sort of USB power source. So we put that down there as well. In this case, the one that they sent me, this is the wall socket that they sent, which is a US one. I assume that ones that are being sold in Europe have actually got, a wall socket which will, fit into, in my case, an Irish socket. The only thing is if that's the case, I'm not sure how they'd actually get them into a box this size. So it could be that they have to actually give them to you separately, because obviously our sockets are bigger than these. So we can put that down there as well. And then also within here we have the heads. Now let's just take these out, and these are the heads that actually go into the clearomizer, and I'll put one of those into it for you now shortly. So, and in this case what you're doing is you're getting a 1.8 ohm head and a 2.1 ohm head, and these are Aspire heads. For any of you who are familiar with them. So generally speaking, these are very good heads. Just before I put it together, just looking at this battery first, very fetching sort of multicolored mad looking yoke. You can get this in a couple of different colors. You can get silver, I think you can get black, you get this, I'm not sure which other ones are available. It's not possible to change the voltage output on this. There's no twist on it. So it's going to just push out the standard amount on it. It is also your usual standard Ego 5. It's on at the moment, you can see the light when I push it on, but if I click it 5 times the light goes off, and then if I try and click it, it won't go on. So that's your safety. So if you're putting it in your pocket, you don't want it to fire by mistake. What you do is you click it 5 times so it goes off, but then when you want to use it again, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, it's back on again, and then every time you push it, it's going to fire up until the point when you push it 5 times again to turn it off completely. So standard enough, happens in all Ego batteries. So that's the battery. Looking at the head here, the clearomizer, again, it looks like the standard Aspire clearomizer. Oh, it's got a head in it already. Okay, so within this then you've got the two that I showed you earlier on, and then you've got this other one which is already in place. And let's see, what is this? It is a 1.8. So in something like this, where you can't regulate the power coming out of it, A 1.8 would be my preference. And with these things, basically it opens at both ends, so it means you can clean it nicely. Looking inside, very simple. Here's your tank. The tank says it holds up to, what is it? 1.4, 2.2, 2.4 milliliters, which is a decent amount. So we can put that back in there. Then on the base here, this is where the aspire head goes in, so I'm just going to put back in the one that I just took out, which I think is this one, 1.8. So let's screw that back in. So that's in place. So this is essentially ready to go now. So what I'll do is I'm going to fill this up and we'll see what it goes like. Now to fill these up is really simple. You basically get your liquid, and what you want to do is you're filling it from the bottom here. So what you want to do is bring the liquid up so that it goes just towards the top of that metal tube on the inside. You don't want to go any higher than that, because otherwise it'll just all start tipping out of the bottom. So let's fill this up here. To about there. And then all we do is screw this in. Now you might be able to see that little white dot towards the bottom of this here. There's one on one side, there's one on the other side. And essentially that's where the liquid is going to seep into the center so that the coil can then actually vaporize it. So all we need to do now is just screw this on here. And that is it. Now, as ever with an aspire, when you fill it for the first time, your best bet is to just leave it for a little while, because the liquid needs to seep into the center of the chamber there, so that the wick that's going through the coil, which is the thing that vaporizes the liquid, gets wet enough with the liquid so that it can do its job properly. You can see that bubble coming up there. That basically shows that the liquid is on its way in, and you'll see a couple of those bubbles at the beginning, until it gets to the point where it's nice and saturated on the inside. So in the meantime, while we're waiting for that to do its job and be ready, just for any of you who aren't aware of these things and how they work, this is your standard sort of a charger. Basically all you do is you plug, or rather you screw this in here. Normally what happens then is, I haven't got this plugged in at the moment, I assume it's the same as with this as it is with most of them. When you plug it in, and this end is into a wall socket or into a computer or some other power source, this will turn red. You'll have a little light here that turns red, and then when this is charged, this will turn to green. And once it turns to green, then you just unscrew it and it's ready to go. And one of these, depending on how much you're using it, there's a lot of people who get a day out of one of these, So to connect this to this, all you do is just put it into the end like that, screw it on, and let's pull it back a little bit here, and that's your completed piece. Okay, so this has been sitting for a few minutes now. I've been watching the bubbles come up through it, and so it should be pretty much ready to go. There's another bubble just on the way up there. So one of the things that's usually worthwhile doing with these is to give it a few sort of primer pulls. So without pressing the button, just a couple of pulls on it, and that again just helps more of the liquid get in. Once the liquid's in there, it will wick fine. You don't need to do any of this anymore. This is just really just to start it at the very beginning when you're putting a fresh one in. So I would imagine that that's probably ready to go, so let's give it a go, and it's just a case of a simple pushing the button down and then just drawing the vapor in. So let's see what it's like. Perfect. Now this is a liquid actually I haven't had in quite a long time, which is actually Liqua traditional tobacco. Now this is an 18 milligram, which is higher than I would normally vape. I'm usually on 6 or 12. God, I'd forgotten it actually tastes quite nice. And it's vaping like a champ. You know, I think one of the great things with these, you know, the Ego, the Aspire, you know, that sort of combination, and I've never seen one that looks quite like that before, to be honest. But that is a combination as a starter kit, and let's face it, that this is what this is. It's a starter kit. But I think that the starter kits have now got to the point that they're not really a starter kit anymore. They're easy enough for people who are just starting to vape, which is great. Another good thing about them is that the standard of them has come up so high that for somebody who does start on these, there's a very good chance that they will actually stay on them. In the past, the problem with some of the entry-level e-cigarettes were that they just tasted crap and they really didn't work very well. So a lot of people who were perhaps trying to give up cigarettes go on to the alternative, which is vaping, and tried something, felt that it was pretty useless, and then just said, you know, feck it, I'm going back onto the cigarettes, which is a disaster. Whereas I think now with starter kits coming up to this sort of level, I mean, you could happily never move on to anything else. You just stay on this, and it's a very, very fine vape, very, very simple to use. And then in time, when some of the elements start to break down, you just change them, and it's relatively inexpensive. I mean, this battery at the bottom here, you're going to get, you know, I don't know how many months out of that before it starts falling apart. Well, not falling apart, but that it doesn't hold its power for as long as you'd like. Like all batteries, you know, after a while, their life, you know, sort of shortens. Then you just go and get another one, and they've all got the standard connection on them. And to buy another one is probably going to be maybe €15 or something like that. Most people would keep two of those, one on charge and one being used, so that when one's gone, then you know you're ready with another fresh one. As far as the inside of this is concerned, many of you know this already, but all you do is when it starts tasting not great and you're not getting great vapor or flavor or whatever, then all you do is you unscrew it, you take out the little bit at the bottom, and you put in a new one, and you buy these in packs of 5, and that's it. So it really doesn't get much more simple than that. So the EOS BDC Cartomizer Starter Kit, they call it, what do they call it over there? They call it the EO-1 Starter Kit. Where exactly it's available from, I'm not sure. As I said, I got this straight from China. I saw this on a site in the UK called Vapenquit, vapenquit.co.uk. That's the only one that I've actually seen so far that's selling this kit, but it's relatively new out. But anyhow, if you're looking for a starter kit that kind of looks really funky like that, that vapes really well, that doesn't cost the earth, as I said, 26, 27 euro, then I think this is as good as any of them out there. Only difference on this one really is because you're using the Aspire head, which, you know, is standard across many different devices. The only thing on this, the only place where this one falls down for me is the fact that you can't vary the voltage on it. You can't up it and down it. But that's just me, and I'm used to playing around with these things, and you know, bigger ones, you know, where you can actually make changes to them. But then again, I'm also used to playing around with mechanical mods where you can't. Well, when I'm finished this review, this particular kit is going to go off to a lady that I was told about. Now, she needs to come off the cigarettes. Everybody should come off the cigarettes, obviously, and we all know how difficult that can be. And there's lots of reasons to do it, but the particular reason that I've heard for this lady giving up cigarettes, I frankly have never heard of a better reason, and I'm not going to go into the detail of it. But all I can say is that this lady is an exceptional lady for what she's doing. And I just hope that this kit will actually get her to the point where she's off them. And guess what? I think it probably will. So that's it. Great little starter kit. Many other similar ones around, but you know, this one really does work very well. Well, it's got an Aspire head in it, and you know, if you're thinking of starting off vaping, this is a very good choice. Thanks for watching. I'll catch you again soon. Cheers!